If tomorrow you realize that maybe the person you call your husband, the person you call your wife, the person you call your pastor, the person you hold to a great high esteem is someone that you never thought he was, what would happen to the years for which a person has really impacted your life, being a positive beam to the person you are today? Think about that for a moment before you type something in the comments. Being in the space of social commentary for a little over 2 years, there are 3 things I want you to learn from watching this video as we have this conversation looking at the person of Apostle Arome Osayi, Apostle Michael Orokpo, and of course, looking at some trends that are also secular as it relates to what I'm going to be looking at that also happens in the church. Gen Zs may not really know who I'm talking about in this video. His name is Boltz. You might be wondering, George, why are you talking about this person? And what does he have as a connection with Michael Orokpo and Apostle Arome Osayi? We are going to make sense of that in this video.
If you don't understand human actions, you'll be offended a lot of times. But if you already know people, you will program your soul in a way that you'll not be hurt. As I am now, if you betray me, I'm already prepared for it. I will only pray for you that God should help you. If he hurts me, it's because I love you. But it won't take long. Because I know that one of the codes that defines this season we are in is called betrayal. It's betrayal. So when I'm living with people, I don't kill myself. If you betray me, I know you are responding to the times. If I see people arrogant, I'm not the kind of pastor that I'm in church. Somebody didn't greet you well and I notice. No, I don't. It's part of the age. People will be proud. People will be boasters. People will be arrogant. It's part of the age. People will be disobedient to authorities. It's part of the age. So when you see it, you will know. And so for those of us who have opportunity to talk to people, we don't talk to them as though we are naive. We talk to them and we attack the spirit controlling them. That's why sometimes we are aggressive. And I was telling you last week Tuesday, that when we teach, sometimes we address the spirit of the age, sometimes we address the spirit of the territory before we even address people. And so when you see us corrosive, it's not because we are insensitive. It's because we know that people are doing what they are doing because of the power of the age. Many preachers will be shocked unless God helps. Many preachers will be shocked. In the last days, you will discover that the greatest victims will be those who are in authority. Many people will be surprised because they would have undermined these things, thinking that it's well with them, they are in order. It's a judgment will begin from the household of God. Judgment will begin from the church, and it will begin from the altar. Praise God. Most of the people who are heading the gay movement today, there were people before who said they were martyrs. One of the songs we used to sing those days to set ourselves on fire, I heard later that the person who sang it had gone to the other side. He went the way, he moved from martyrdom into gay. How many of you have heard the song? I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. That's one of the most powerful songs on earth today. Go and search it. With all my heart, with all my strength,
I approve to honor his.
He said, I pledge to honor his commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. Before the song started, he was talking to his son. And he was telling him, in case they matter us and they come for you, this should be your stand. This should be your testimony. Somebody who was baptized with the spirit of martyrdom, what happened? Nakash, the whispers of the serpent, it penetrated the soul. You know what the Bible calls them? It said they are deluded. Let me read some scriptures so that you know why you must understand the sign of deception and know how to combat it. The song now wants to take me somewhere else. Play it on the keyboard. Seek to honor his company. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb.
If you're going to be a preacher, listen to me, you have to be flawless in character. We should not be able to trace any woman to your life, apart from your wife. A Puritan. You have only one love, one obsession, and it's Jesus. I have something with God because I stayed. There was pressure, but I stayed. There was hunger, I stayed. Other people became smart and started fending for themselves. I stayed with Jesus. I stayed. I stayed. And the outcome can never be the same. If I cry here, Jesus will come here. Where have you been? Because we are raising members and not men. Our members. But I wanted to be a voice that will minister to the heart of several people that I will never see in my lifetime. And because of the efforts of sacrifice that I bring to the altar, my voice will be a sign that God is alive to them. God wants to build his church again on a new philosophy, on a new spirit. Seek to honor his commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb with all my strength, with all I have.
How can a man who had this kind of body, what did they tell him? What? And you here who is still falling and standing up every 2 months, you say you are ready. The depth of deception that will come in the last day is in the order of the serpent. It's called Nakash. It's the whisper. It enters the soul and it reconfigures man. And so, while will seduction, why will deception thrive? And why will immorality take the center stage? Because seducing spirits will appear on the scenes in the last days. Hear what the Bible says. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1 and 2. I'm saying this so you don't deceive yourself and say, I am strong. You will need to run into the everlasting arms of God.
And that is the main reason why I'm making this video. Now, I don't know if Apostle Arome Osayi is privy to this particular information I'm about to share or discussing for those who don't know about it already, but this would help us ask ourselves serious questions as Christians when it comes to how we relate to one another in the faith. If Ray Boltz were to see this video, probably he might have a different opinion as to how Michael Orokpo got to interpret his situation. But I'm going to show you what Ray Boltz had to say in person when it comes to his choice or him coming out as being gay. This is the main point of this video. For Michael Orokpo to be singing the same song to his audience, even with the idea that the person himself who had come out to be gay a long time ago and is still very much alive right now, is something I find worth learning about, because you never know anyone too well. You can watch a motivational speaker and get your life impacted. You can be watching a pastor teaching a good message and you get to learn a lot. Because everyone have their own issues they get to face in life. But to know someone for real, even when you're watching reality TV shows, knowing quite well that there's a camera watching you, you will not probably be the same person, while your act would always be intentional. Now, even though this is not a good comparison, let's look at what happened to the person of Naira Marley Mohbad recently. We discussed about it here for those who are interested in secular conversations. And it was becoming very interesting how it seems to be that Naira Marley's songs and his person and all that was cancelled based on his involvement or his alleged involvement with the person of Mohbad. Now that brings us to the second lesson I would also want us to learn here. Let's look at our home, Nigeria. If something probably scandalous that is not supposed to be identified with someone of that particular position came out, do you think the church is still going to probably invite the person to be singing for them? Or probably the person's song will still remain aloof or still be sung in churches? Hold your thought there, because of course remember the person of late Samuel Oposo, what happened while some people were saying that when Damina came out and said he wasn't invited in churches to preach, he was cancelled, or some pastors did this and did that. I think we discussed that extensively, because when we look at the person of Ray Boltz himself, I'm going to be reading an article. Is there a distinction between the personality of any song and the song itself? Why am I asking this question? Is it possible that someone that is probably a secular artist that gets to sing a song that is more praiseworthy, or would I say clean and quote-unquote Christian-like, can be accepted by the Christian community as a Christian song, or a song that can be played probably in church, or let's say probably in a wedding or something? Why am I even saying so? You see, there's a particular artist right now who claims that he is in the secular music industry to cleanse that industry, Spiral. And you have been listening to recently his songs. He recently won the next rated Hades award, and he's more of like on the vibe for Jesus. Before we get to discuss Spiral much later extensively, you could tell me what you think about his person as a secular artist, but is there to make clean music as he portrays to say, even though last time we looked at one of Apostle Osayi's son coming out and speaking about his song because he featured the person of Tiwa Savage, whom you know very well to be a secular artist, capitalizing on the fact that she had a sex tape that leaked, and then looking at the person of Femi Dahosa, who was singing the same song, more like sampling it as well in a Christian way for the audience at a huge conference, but focusing on the agape force. If you haven't watched that video, I'll link it in the pinned comment for you to understand what I'm talking about, because when I look at these things here, I have been trying to re-echo this a whole lot of time. Is it possible to separate what comes out of a person from the person? Because even if when you read the Bible, it's not that which gets into a man that defiles him, but that which comes out of him. The reason why I'm saying this is what this pastor had to say.
Listen to me, there must be Christian comedians. There must be. There has to be. There must be Christian entertainers. Not just Christian worshippers. It's the reason why when we want to do wedding, we have no songs to dance to. Hey! Because all the Christian entertainers did not feel comfortable in entertainment. You can put out clean content that are godly. Now we want to dance. We just left church. After church now, oh, in the name of Jesus, I will do wed. In the name of what they call him. Oh God, give us Christian home. And then we just get to the session. It's lonely at the top, lonely. And because those that should sing, some songs didn't sing it. We are forced to dance to 𝐲𝐻�10 Daru. Why are we dancing to 𝐲𝐻�10 Daru? Because those of you who have an assignment to sanitize those places didn't go for it. You felt bad that your song, people are not falling. But
I hope I'm not losing you in my train of thoughts right now. And as I read this article, you are going to realize that even though the person of Ray Boltz, his personality of him performing his songs probably in churches is being cancelled, his songs is still changing lives and giving people faith. But what you are going to realize from me reading this article of him speaking himself is that even in the time of him writing his songs, he was still who he came out to be that you now know of. So let's read the article together. So he says here, I was always writing songs even as a kid. Boltz said, I would lay around in the backyard, stare up the sky and write songs. I loved doing that. When I was young, I also knew who I was attracted to when he was much younger. But anytime I thought about it, it always came with a lot of guilt. I didn't know any gay people where I lived and I never saw it on television. So I listened to what the church told me about homosexuality, and this is that it was wrong. wrong. But if I truly gave my heart to Christ, I could get victory over anything. I just needed to serve the Lord and He would take care of it. That was his mindset. So he believed that him being active in church, him serving God, him, using his gifting for God probably would take care of what he has noticed about himself. So I have to really contrast what you see being said about him to what the person is saying. Moving on right here, he said that was the mindset that would affect every thought and every action Boltz would have. As the article would say, Boltz attended college in Bell State University and graduated with a major in marketing and minor in radio and television. While he was in college, he married Carol, who would be his wife for 30 years. During his college days, he began singing in a variety of churches and associations. This eventually led to him going into contemporary full-time Christian music in 1986. When Boltz stepped boldly out of the closet only a few months ago, some of his fans might have felt deceived, and that is a big thing. You see, towards the end of this article, something really struck my nerves when I read that particular point. But let's go on. After all, Boltz has been blessed with a beautiful family and a successful career that put him on national and international platform to proclaim the good news of Christ. Yet at that time, Boltz was hiding the fact that he was gay. Now this is what Boltz himself had to say, and please let's pay attention to this particular fact. He said, "Yeah, I wish I could take people into where I was, to walk a mile in my shoes." Boltz said, "I set out to deceive no one. I believed with all my heart that if I prayed enough, if I believed enough, if I read the Bible enough, if I sought counsel enough, if I fasted enough, then these feelings and thoughts would go away. I spent my entire adult life fighting and struggling that way. I don't think that is deceptive at all. If anything, I was the one who was deceived by well-meaning people who said it could be overcome. I, as a person, I have seen people that are not straight. I don't hate them as a person. Sometimes I talk to them as well the best way I can. Of course, they will know my standpoint based on probably my public persona. But you have to understand something here. I can't say I understand how they feel because I have not been in that situation. I have to be very honest with you. I went through the seminary and I saw people that were probably because of the environment they found themselves, because I went to all boys, things were happening. Yes, of course. So when it comes to that particular conversation, I wouldn't say I understand better. The things I don't understand, probably I can better express about it. Though Boltz has overcome the barrier to authentic happiness, many in the Christian music industry are likely to still be hiding the fact that they are gay out of fear of losing their career, or simply not being able to reconcile their faith and sexuality. The point right here is that if you sing the song now, which of course I love the song, it shouldn't matter to you the product of the song or who the song itself comes from. Because if you go to that particular accent, then you have to ask yourself really an important question. Why would you not sing the song because of the person you now know them to be? I know when most of you started this video, you heard Michael Orokpo talking about betrayal. Probably the next thing that came to your mind was his situation with his former father in the Lord, if I'm to put it that way, but that was not the point. The fact is that you should mind who you look up to. If I'm to give you a biblical point of view, fix your eye on the author and finisher of your faith, because in him we find true perfection, not in man. Because the reason why I see people get all right out and dramatic in the comments, of course, I read your opinions to know what you think about the things I get to share. It seems to be we have made man our God, that the situations that affect a man is more or less seen as holding on to people's faith, and people get to probably lose their faith in God because of one man's action whom they look up to and believe that, oh, this man is without sin, this man is perfect. May we not be in a situation where we say, how has the mighty fallen? Because one thing is for sure, we make mistakes, we err, but how are we able to learn from the mistakes we have made, move on, and keep our eyes fixed on the author and finisher of our faith? That is the most important aspect of what I want to drive with this video. So while you look up to your mentors, your pastors, your music ministers, whomever you find a source of inspiration from, Just like you struggle, sometimes they struggle as well. But all in all, let your eyes be on the one true God. You know his name.